Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing? Awesome. So we're going to talk about defeating the modern phishing using plain old logs. So, quick agenda introduction. Who am I? We're going to talk about what the modern phishing really is. We're going to talk about defense mechanisms that we have, that we can implement in place. I'm going to do a quick demo, and then we have the Q&A. So, my name is Azaraenko. I am the main lumberjack for TDS Corporate. I love logs. That's kind of what I do for a living. And in my spare time, I love bowling. So, just in case if you have any bowlers around here, we can join, team up. So, I want to kind of start with like the phishing and social engineering data, provided by the Verizon breach report from last year. The social aspect, the phishing, the social engineering has been, kind of ramping up over the last few years. As an analyst, we can build the walls as big as we can, but hey, we have the users that already have access to our network, and if they can be tricked, they're going to be your, initial point of compromise, and that's something that, besides the user education, that's something I think all of us kind of struggle with. Another kind of common thing is, from last year, 66% of the malware that was installed was delivered malicious emails. That invoice that you were waiting for, or that USPS delivery confirmation that for some reason is a document attached to an email, which I'm not sure why you actually receive that kind of email, but people kind of fall for that. And day by day, the bad guys are actually creating more creative techniques. They're more, like you have to have an eye for it, and trying to talk to regular users, that's, becomes a bit problematic. So, something that you can do is obviously, user awareness training, but, moving forward, you still can try to defend yourself. So malicious attachments. The one thing that I'm going to talk about is, productivity applications containing, macros. They have, hey, you open this document, great, let me go and start this PowerShell script. I'm going to reach out and grab some malware. Awesome. You build everything to can, okay, you have your email security gateway that, scans everything every day. Sure, probably 97%, and by the way, it's an arbitrary number, is basically, being denied. Okay, that's spam. That's definitely spam. It's okay. A few different things that I've seen how the spam filters would get bypassed is, you're going to have SMTP servers using good reputation. Potentially somebody got compromised in another company, and it's your client. You get emails them daily, great, and that comes in your environment. Oh yeah, no, non-sender. Everything's good. Okay. Another few pieces. It's a new phishing campaign, so nothing hasn't seen before. So we get back to kind of the signature piece to it. Okay, signature, great. Yeah, we'll have signatures, but at the same time, pattern analysis I think can really help us out and broaden the spectrum. Another piece that I've seen is having an encrypted attachment where it's like, hey user, here's the invoice, but this is the password that you need to actually put in and open that attachment. And guess what? The email security gateway cannot really scan that attachment because it's encrypted. It says it's encrypted, and you can implement a different scenarios where you can say, okay, any encrypted email, it can be put kind of in quarantine. We can maybe put tagging to make sure that users are aware that it's encrypted email, that it hasn't been checked for malware or anything. Get some kind of piece of that in. But we always like to see this, get this email message that is it's a protected document. It's somebody's trying to protect you. Oh, so good for them. Yeah, protect our users. Yes, and there's instructions how you actually unprotect yourself. Click this and do this and do this, and oh yeah, you're compromised. I'm sorry. So totally legit phishing document, right? So defense mechanisms: email gateway, antivirus, next-gen antivirus, system logs. So for the SIM Summit, obviously I'm going to focus about logs, but we have a lot of different pieces come in when we're trying to protect against malicious attachments coming in. So we have the reputation score for SMTP servers. We can do attachment analysis as well. So a lot of the security email gateways can perform that and say, okay, this contains a VBA script, so let me just double check on that. Or hey, this pattern, I've seen it before. I'm not sure about this. It's still going to be a signature based. Some new emergent platforms are coming out with detonation pieces, but as well as like just kind of pattern analysis. But traditionally, it's still been very signature based. Threat intelligence. Threat intelligence is good, enriching, contributing back to a community. We can protect, if I can protect myself, I can protect the others. Sharing that information is great. Still create the signatures. Antivirus, kind of the same problem. We love the signatures, but hey, the new phishing campaign came out. I create signature. I need to update it. I need to deploy it. And finally, it got to the endpoint. By the time, the computer really has been compromised. It takes time, and it's the vicious circle that I always have as security analyst. We always have to kind of step and try to be in front of the bad guys. With the next-gen antivirus, that's something, looking at pattern analysis, it's good. It can be expensive. Depending on your organization, depending on your budget and security, that's something, it can be aware of. And logs, you can use them for patterns. So, see. Antivirus is dead. The security community has been talking about it. It's like, okay, let's get rid of antivirus. We don't need it anymore. At the same time, it can catch the low-hanging fruit. It's something to have, okay. And then start looking at next-gen antiviruses. They're great, but they do require some investment in. So, if you're a company that, you just have a plain, antivirus in it and you still, cannot, spend the money for the budgetary reasons, forget the next-gen antivirus, you can start with something simple. What if I told you that the logs have patterns? And you can use them for your advantage. You can use them as regardless of what organization size you are, you can use them from the endpoints. If you don't have log management, you can start with basic stuff. You can start with partial scripts running on endpoints. If you collect them, sure, then you can start looking at the central platform. So here's an example of malicious attachment process execution. So can I have a raise of hands? How many of you only have Windows 7 machines in their environment 100%? How many of you have started deploying Windows 10 and about up to like 50% deployment in the environment? Everybody on Windows 10 then? Okay. So I have more and more people. So with the process execution, the one piece with Windows 7 logs, the security logs, the process creation, the event 4688, it only contains the new process has been created. Yes, sir. Oh. Whoops. Okay. A bird, I think the bird potentially did something to it, right? So process creation, the Windows 7 machines, the standard security log, it contains new process has been created. The one piece that it's missing is what is the parent process that created the process? So with Windows 10, going forward, we actually start getting that kind of data. With Windows 7, we have to rely on sysmon. So Windows SysInternals, I highly recommend it. I think it's a very great tool. Besides process creations, you can also have network data being recorded, which I find it tremendous. Providing also the hashes for the processes, which I think is awesome. If you got some new executable that was started in your environment and it only was executed once on one machine, and let's say the malware wiped it, and you have no access to that piece of sample, afterwards. Well, having the sysmon, you will be able to actually at least get the hash of it, that you have something kind of to go with, moving forward, because files can be renamed. It all can be kind of a white smoke in the air. With Windows 10, besides sysmon that you can have as standard, for the process creation, you can also just use the standard logs. Something that all of us have, something that we can utilize and we should be utilizing. The one big piece that I also want to say is that for the process creation events in Windows 10, enable the command line auditing, because that will help you in your enrichment scenario. That's something that you can actually take a look to see. Okay, well, cmd.exe started. Okay, well, great. But what about cmd.exe started that had command line arguments that it's actually telling you what it's actually doing? Like, that's something that's been very useful, that you can enrich it more and you can utilize it and find the bad guys and protect your network. So I have a quick demo time. Let's see. Password 1. . So a Windows 10 machine. I have this awesome document that is going to show me an invoice that I received. When it loads. So as a quick scenario, John Doe receives an organization from HR. He received this awesome invoice that he's been expecting the whole week. And guess what? He receives this invoice, and it's a protected document. We're trying to protect John. You know, okay, the protected document says, yes, I should go and I have to enable the content, and I have to enable the macros. Oh, great. I actually finally got an invoice. That's awesome. Absolutely everything is fantastic, right? Nothing happened. It was a protected document. I mean, I clicked on it. Everything is fine. I can see everything. However, in the background, what we're going to have is our process creation logs. So we just executed with the creator process name happens to be winword.exe. And the new process name that was spawned is cmd.exe. And you can see that the one thing that I did is I tried to execute a ping command. You know, that's a quick win for any organization to see. You get one log that you already have the correlation as productivity application starts some kind of system administration process. That's weird. Why would Word do that? Why would a PDF document try to open cmd.exe? That's weird. That's one log that it's a quick win that for any company that can utilize it and they can, make sure that the modern phishing that is going to be delivered by the, email attachments that contain some macro code in it that's going to execute something, you can right away see with one log. That's it. You see the log alert right away, alert. You don't have the, the next gen antivirus tool or whatever, from the budgetary perspective. One log and that's it. That's something that can right away be a quick win for you. And can we go back to the slides, please? So more patterns, more alerts. From, depending on what your maturity level is, from Security Operations Center, the basic correlation is, sure, we have winword.exe starting cmd.exe process. From that perspective, you can actually start do more of enrichment and start looking at it. It's like, okay, so this document that was created actually came from Outlook, because when you actually look at the command line arguments from the execution, you can right away see, okay, well, content.outlook, have the user, okay, that definitely came from email. So you already right away can have that and add a tag to it, enrich it, make it more useful. It's like, okay, well, great, I got the user, he got infected, I have to deal with this machine right now, okay. But what about something else? You can enrich it even further, say, okay, well, how many users actually receive this attachment in your environment? You determine that, okay, it's content.outlook, great, it came over email, user, executed, okay, well, what about using that invoice.doc and try to search your email logs and say how many people had that same pattern, the same file name, or it had, the same maybe starting, kind of doing a fuzzy search, with Elastic, for example, you can do a fuzzy search that it's sort of there. It's not the exact match, but there has a lot of common senses with it. So doing that, you can enrich more, you can get more, and quick, easy win. Then moving forward, enrich it more, get more data, search the logs, and then you have a whole list of all people that receive that email that you can go and potentially pull it, or notify the recipients of it, or do something more with it. And that's just, doing some quick automation that you can look at it, and there's no signatures from it, this perspective. Sure, it will, I'm not sure that's the, it's not the golden bullet that will stop everything in your environment, but at one quick win for you that it's like, okay, I got a malicious email, it was delivered, I have a list of users, great, go hunting.